Good afternoon. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day recap for Friday. Happy Friday, and probably deserving a couple cocktails. It's a little bit. It's been rainy all day on the East Coast, but really kind of a sleepy day. Today was quarter end, March 31st. We really didn't see much going on in the major indices until about the end of the day, the last 10 minutes. This is normally the case for quarter end. There's a lot of volume that has to be traded on the close. We were very cognizant of that in the trading room today. Kind of be a little bit. I'm always a little bit cautious when I know that there's bigger flows going on than normal. Which can kind of whip around the market one way or another, depending if it's to buy or if it's to sell. Just looking at the chart for S&P, we do have this resistance here, which we hit on Thursday on the close, and backed away from it a little bit today. So I don't think any major damage done. Technically today, it just seemed like after this week's move, which I think was generally pretty good from where we started this week. We just kind of stalled out a little bit. And, what we were watching is basically the value areas for today. You know, these are just so good at identifying support and resistance levels. This is something that I post every day in the chat room, as well as I actually posted on Twitter as well, because it's so useful. I mean, this is basically where we hit. It just didn't look like we wanted to get going today, and it's amazing how we just stop right there. I really don't have an explanation why these areas are so important, and why sometimes we'll just rally up to them. It's just really good for telling you, hey, we don't have a trending day on our hands. When we try to break through it and we fail, even towards the end of the day, we tried again and failed. So you could see just the price hit there just for a second. And then we actually had the break below. We had a nice sell signal right on the bottom, which told me a little bit of right at the end of the day. But again, we didn't really go too far. The one thing that was a little bit disappointing, I thought, was small caps really came in at the end of the day. They were the leader all day. They were up about 50 basis points and only ended up about 15 basis points. So they really gave back all of their gains like in the last 5 minutes. Last 5 minute bar, basically, big bar down, and we saw this in a lot of places. The regional banks were pretty weak at the end of the day. They gave back about a third of yesterday's gains. If you remember, Kerry was up 3% yesterday, and it was down 1% today. So it gave back a third of those gains. So no real follow through there. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of movers to the upside or the downside. The gold and bonds were both up a little bit today. Also, kind of a reversion to the mean again from Thursday, which they both kind of got beat up pretty badly. There just wasn't a lot of sectors that I don't really see besides metals and mining and gold miners. Those were the only ones that were up over 0.5%. Other than that, most sectors were between up 0.5% to down 0.5%. So really kind of a mixed market today. Again, I think totally expected for quarter end, where there's a lot of jostling going on with positions. One thing that caught my eye today was the VIX just kind of trended up all day today. The VIX actually closed up yesterday, but it was only 1%. So I didn't really think too much of it. But a 7% move, probably a good thing. It's really tough to interpret it when it's such a low level. Up 7%, but really we're going from 11 to 12. So, maybe I wouldn't say be cautious next week, but it is in absolute terms a 7% move. Maybe watch for if it's a sign of a little bit of volatility to come in the beginning of the week. But again, you kind of just look at where the levels are coming from, and just lowly 10, 11 handle levels in the VIX. So I'm not that alarmed. Like this didn't concern me enough to put on any protection for the day, or going out farther. The only thing I have on is a little bit of short call spreads. I'm also short a little bit of XRT synthetically by selling some call spreads. Always like to fade the weak areas of the market. Just to kind of go through, like, rehash of the market. The big story for me this week was Amazon. Amazon was a big winner today in the trading room. This was something that I was stalking pre-market, And especially after what we had this week, I said this in one of the videos earlier in the week. I believe, I'm sorry, mixing up my days, but I guess I can tell right here. Tuesday, I had mentioned that this thing had a chance to really go as it was hitting resistance, and Wednesday the thing broke out. Again, I mentioned this chart on Twitter and in these videos earlier in this week and in the trading room on Wednesday. So I had played Amazon earlier in the week, kind of got out of it, real nice profits, and then I put the trade back on this morning. So I'm long some call spreads. I did take some money off the table. Real nice winner for me. But I want to play this breakout. There's not everything is really breaking out. We don't really have any upside to worry about right now in Amazon. So what I did was I kind of structured. I'm in call spreads, which expire on April 13th. They won't realize the full value of the spread just because that won't happen until expiration. So I'm way in the money on my call spreads on past both strikes. So what I did was actually sell a little bit of out of the money call spreads, and that will kind of defend my position a little bit. So that's how I'm playing Amazon, and that was really the story of the week for me. Just a lot of other chop. I did take a few trades this week, kind of added a bunch of trades. Lows I added today, real big block of lows. Chart looks great in this one. Kind of got to the point today where there's a lot of trades that hit the tape that I really like, and I really just had to make sure I didn't get in front of my skis in terms of taking too many positions on right now. But Lowe's is if you remember, had this nice gap up for earnings, and it's kind of just been sitting here. Had a real strong quarter, but sometimes these stocks make the whole move on the earnings, and then they just kind of sit and consolidate for a while. So hopefully it's ready to take that next leg higher. I did like that trade going out to July, kind of giving it plenty of time. But this was a chunky trade. This was how much? $4 million in notional. I like that trade. There was also some MPC, which I could have taken a target today, but was a little bit greedy. Again, another name that's been moving sideways above the 200-day moving average. We actually saw a lot of little call buying going on in kind of off. I call these off the radar energy names, where they're it's not Exxon, it's not Chevron, it's not your big caps, but a lot of little stuff like SPN, which I believe is an energy name, CPE, which is an energy name, PE. Again, not the biggest trades in the world, but just a lot of picking at individual names. Oasis or OAS, excuse no, not Oasis, OAS, which we saw call buying earlier. It is Oasis Petroleum. We saw call buying, real sharp, aggressive buyer earlier in the week, and I'm long this name in cash. It's a $14 stock against the 200-day moving average, and there's been repeat activity in this name. So I like this one. It just sets up really nice on the charts for me with that 200-day moving average as my stop, and kind of let this thing ride as it continues to ride up, and we see additional call buying. Some other interesting names that hit the tape today. HPQ, where are you? HPQ's in here someplace. That's the second day in a row. Real nice performance and breakout for HPQ. I mentioned HPQ yesterday, and I did not take the trade just because I kind of just felt a little bit full with taking trades yesterday too. But nice breakout today. Another name, kind of similar patterns to Lowe's, gapped up on earnings, sitting about a month, consolidating, and now looks like ready to go make that turn higher. So nice performance there. CSX, we saw a couple different trades in CSX. CSX, another nice mover, and has just kind of been sitting here for the last month. Again, similar theme. So there was some call buying today. Two separate trades that went up in CSX. What else? A couple other names. IAC, repeat call buying today. Another name that's in a nice uptrend and just kind of following that 200-day moving average. Those were expensive trades. There was some AMBA calls. I'm not even going to bring up the chart in AMBA because it's way underneath the 200-day moving average. Just doesn't fit my system. But they were pretty aggressive. We also saw some calls yesterday. Same strike, April 61s yesterday. And then on the put side, just wanted to kind of wrap it up here for the Friday video. Got to get out to the bar. Just kidding. Not kidding. Urban, repetitive put buying in this name the last 2 days, and this name really sank pretty hard. It doesn't look like that too much on the just looking at the daily chart, but did finish down about 2.9%. Also, RCII, somebody's looking for more downside in this one. A lot of put buying the last couple days. So, opportunities, couple of opportunities on both sides, puts and calls. Obviously, a lot more calls that I have that are down as aggressive. But if you're looking to kind of mix your portfolio up a little bit, definitely some interesting shorts that we've been seeing in the last couple days. Also, EM. Last thing I'll mention, EM. Really hasn't performed that well this week. The strong, these ETFs, which I talk about all the time, you have to be careful because they do have, not be careful, but just be aware that you have exposure to currencies. So EEM, things like FEZ, VGK, EWZ, all these names, they have exposure to currencies. So if the US dollar gets stronger, you will actually lose some money outright. Like, so if emerging markets don't do anything and the dollar goes up and you're long EEM, you will actually lose money because you're sitting long local shares. They own a basket of local shares. So if you are sitting in local currency, even though it's a dollar denominated ETF. So if the dollar goes up, it will eat away your returns. However, if the dollar goes down and emerging markets goes up, you get an extra kicker with the currency. So it works obviously both ways there. But EM, there was a nice where I want to where I want to get to, as I always go off track, is there was a May 40.5 call buyer. It appeared and a put seller. So I believe a risk reversal going long emerging markets. So that's it for tonight's video. Have a great weekend and look out for this weekend's video. Also, I don't mention it every day, but I'll mention it today. We put together a great newsletter for the weekend where we talk about all the trade setups that we like. Really, I put together all the fund flows, which are pretty much about a week before anybody else does. I saw that Bloomberg put out a note today about European inflows, the most in a year. I put that data out last weekend, so you had that data out in your hands last Saturday. So that's why I think there's a lot of value in our newsletter. So if you sign up today, you'll be able to get that today. So that's TribecaTradeGroup.com. We only have one package. I really try to make this simple for everybody so that there's not like 5 different packages to choose from. It's really cheap. It's $129 a month, discounted for the first month for your trial for 64 months, and you get basically everything that is here, which is a lot more than other rooms charge, and our services are frankly better, to be to be perfectly honest. So check us out, join for a month, and get the first half. The first month for half off. I know it's late; it's Friday. And what else? We use Slack, which is on the cutting edge of technology and trade rooms. The best type of trade room that you could possibly have is using Slack. So I hope my competitors don't hear that too loud. But you get so much information. There's so much information that we could post. But anyway, I'm going on. Have a great weekend and look out for this weekend's newsletter. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.